Good morning from the top of Jane Ball. Here's my little bivvy shelter that I made last night. Got a lot of dew on it. I'm pretty soaked inside. You can see how wet this thing is. It worked pretty good, but it's the dew that just got me soaked. I don't know what it would do against rain. I guess it'd be okay. Funny, I was just musing about how to use this tarp, this poncho, as a shelter, an emergency shelter. Well, darn good thing that I'm a photographer and I have a couple of tripods with me, a little one and a bigger one, and that's what made this shelter. Found some rocks, obviously, and used some other gizmos. Here's the bigger tripod. So it worked pretty good. The only problem was getting in and out, obviously, because the thing is, the tarp itself is soaked, so from dew. So every time I got out, it would fall and collapse on me and get me completely soaked. So my what do you call it underneath there? My quilt underneath there is pretty wet. Just wanted to get a. See, this would happen. That little stick would fall and then get everything pretty much wet inside. But it's not too bad. Did shelter me. That's what counts. And some of the cloud inversions. Pretty cool. So before I dismantle this thing, which is coming soon, just a little bit of the details and how I made this work a little better. I discovered this thing has little loops, and so I tied some string so that it would hold it to the tripod head. And then on the bottom, I got some sticks and I put them through those loops and then extended it so it comes out through here. Then I can put this rock on the stick. So that gave me a lot more room. Obviously some wet. Gave me a lot more room inside. Right, let's go over here. And then obviously put my pack here to try to get some height in there, because otherwise that thing was just laying on top of me. It would have laid right on top of me all night long. This helped prop up this one side, and then maybe you can see this black thing right there. That's just another photo thing that I was able to stick into the pack, and then it gave me some other space under there all night long. That's really what saved me, those two features. Otherwise, this thing would have just been laying on top of me all night, making me soaked. You know, it's a sil nylon. It's the Sea to Summit poncho I talked about before. And here's that trick with the stick. See, this time I put a loop here, put the stick through the loop, and then put the rock on the stick. Right? Really, boy, whoever thought that up did a pretty good job. And then this little one here, little tripod, again to keep it up off my feet. Because this thing is soaked, as you can see. It's just utterly, completely soaked inside and out. It's probably worse inside than it is outside. So I'm glad it didn't rain. Here comes the sun. Good. Maybe I'll get this to dry out a little bit before I pack it up. You know, it's not that big a deal. It's not very far to the car. I'll just have it open in the car on the way home to dry out. You know, if I was actually continuing on my hike, it might be an issue. Definitely want to get it as dry as possible, especially the sleeping bag itself. That's what's going to be going to take some time to dry. But, you know, it worked pretty well overall. So we got to figure a way to make this better. Anyway, here comes the sun. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. And then this should start drying out pretty soon. Very cool. And then I can make some coffee. Yay. I don't want to touch it because everything's going to get even wetter when I open it up. So obviously this is what it looked like underneath. And this is the gizmo. It was more or less like this, holding the, what the heck? Oh, who knows? But you could still see how everything eventually got soaked. As far as warmth goes, everything was fine. Of course, I am dressed in all my clothing, so it's not a real true gauge of how warm the bag is, but it was fine. Again, it's the moisture. And I was really worried, two things, obviously, about puncture of the sleeping pad and ticks. I'm not anywhere near as afraid of bears as I am afraid of ticks. So we shall see. Well, on to the drying part. Drying and then coffee. Well, maybe both at the same time.
So thanks for joining me on my trip up to Jane Bald. Had a great evening. Had to work on a little emergency emergency shelter, but you know it's always a learning curve. It's always a learning experience. So I had a great time. I hope you did too. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoy this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good fun stuff. You know the drill. And I hope to see you next time, next adventures.